Ichiro Suzuki, our crazy-ass MC, hurries to catch the 8:33 train to work. He arrives at work and gets on an elevator with his coworker who asks him about working on a weekend again. Suzuki replies, telling him that he is not done cleaning things up at the office as he is currently cleaning up a mess caused by someone else. Suzuki makes it known that with all the bugs and the changes in design, it will take a lot of work for him to finish on time. The coworker tells Suzuki that he is a nice guy and hopes that new people are brought in for him soon to ease his workload. Suzuki sits by his computer in his office and starts the death march. Suzuki makes it known that he has finished writing the classes and commenting on everything. He makes it known that all he has left is to generate the documentation and UML from the source code before working on the bugs. One of Suzuki's coworkers, a fat fuck, walks up to him, almost calling him by the name of Satu, the name he uses when running beta tests on games, before quickly correcting himself. The coworker tells him they need to talk about War World, a game on which they have been working. The coworker makes it known that their client has said that the game is too difficult for beginners and that they have to make it easier. The fat f*** asks Suzuki what the plan is. Suzuki reminds him that the confused bastard of a client has already made it known that their target audience wouldn't play the game if they made it any easier. Suzuki comes up with a suggestion that they should use an idea that they had previously axed. Suzuki tells the fat f*** that when a player creates his first character, they should get an item that reveals the map and 3 bombs that take out all the enemies. Suzuki adds that if the player can clear the area without using items, they get a rare achievement, making skilled players want to complete it without using items. The coworker tells Suzuki they do not have much time left and they can just go with the idea. He tells Suzuki that he is going to leave the implementation to him. Suzuki informs the coworker that he first has to fix a bug in a mobile MMORPG and that his coworker should get him an okay from the client in the meantime. Suzuki leaves his office to go get lunch. Later that day after dark and still at the office, Suzuki wraps up his work for the day, but is soon told by a coworker that they just got a bug report from the storage testing team. Suzuki's coworker realizes that the bug in question is an item duplication bug in War World and tells Suzuki to check his messenger for the attached file. Suzuki makes it known that duplication bugs are hard to fix. After sending a particular email, he finishes up for the day as he is too tired to look through the other bugs. He decides to get some much-needed sleep after working for long hours, only to wake up in the game world. When our MC wakes, he questions where he is and wonders if it is a dream. Bringing his phone out to try and place a call, he realizes that it isn't going through. Seeing his reflection on his phone screen, Suzuki decides to take a picture to confirm, and realizes that he looks younger. He acknowledges that he can have dreams about fixing bugs while he is on a death march, but that it sucks that he has to dream about War World, the game he has been working on, complete with the bugs too. Realizing that he can control the interface with his mind, he discovers that his name is now Satu, the name he uses for his characters when running beta tests on games. Suzuki looks at the map and knows exactly where he is in the game of War World, the Dragon's Valley. Soon Suzuki is faced with his first challenge in the game. He spots an enemy coming towards him and looks through his inventory to see if he has something he can use against them. He sees the idea that he has been working on for the game to help new players there. He notices that his enemies are high-level elite lizard people. Suzuki realizes that he isn't going to be able to defeat the enemies hand-to-hand as he is just a level 1 player. Suzuki seems to believe that the elite lizard men are not aware of his presence until an arrow is fired in his direction. A barrage of arrows is fired in our MC's direction, before the idiot realizes that he will die if he does nothing. He decides to launch one of his meteors at the enemies, and realizes that it is not immediately implemented. He hurries to take cover from the arrows. He deploys the other 2 meteors as well. Suzuki gets frustrated as he realizes that he will be defeated by a bug in the game. Suddenly, the meteor he had deployed earlier takes effect, raining down to destroy his enemies. When everything calms, there is only one lizard man left who didn't die as he was too close to be in the target range. The lizard man tosses a sword towards Suzuki, whose name is now Satu, as he wants to duel with him. Satu picks up the sword to face the grotesque-looking monstrosity. Satu realizes that it is no joke as the monster aims to cancel him out of existence. Satu realizes that the life bar of the beast is almost gone and attacks the beast, dueling with it. Soon, Satu throws his sword at the beast, creating a flash of light as his sword swiftly flies through the monster's side, ending the lizard man in an instant to his surprise. Satu believes the occurrences he is experiencing are too brutal even for a dream, and thinks there has to be a way to end it all quickly. He looks through the menu floating in front of him to see if he can see anything that remotely looks like a logout button, but soon realizes that he is stuck as he can neither save nor log out of the game he has found himself in. Realizing his situation, he decides to heal up until the dream he is in ends. He soon realizes that he is completely healed. He checks on his player status and realizes that his max vitality has gone up and that he is now a level 310 player, all the way from level 1. Satu realizes that he has been able to level up due to the meteor rain and that the weird sword-throwing skill he used to defeat the last lizard man might have resulted from him leveling up. He checks his other stats and realizes that they have all gone up with him acquiring more skill sets in the process. Right where Satu sits, he looks up only to see a meteor raining down and heading towards him. He runs for his life, and soon his body phases through a surface as he escapes certain doom. Later on, Satu makes it known that the magic is too dangerous and that he will be a villain if he uses it all the time. Satu goes ahead to disable the magic that he had previously enabled before going through his storage to take out a water pouch as he is thirsty. Immediately after selection, he wastes no time in grabbing it and drinking from the pouch. He wonders what else he has in store after taking the water, goes through his storage, and realizes he has a lot of money and other items. Satu tries on a robe he finds in his storage before sitting in front of a fire he has made. Satu decides to get some much-needed sleep and travel right after, as he realizes that it will be boring to him if he doesn't go anywhere. The next day, Satu races towards his first destination, the warrior's fort. He soon realizes from the map that there are about 100 soldiers around, with the highest level being 31. He soon spots a level 30 wyvern on the map and wonders where exactly it is. He leaps into the air and gets on a higher ground to scout for the wyvern. He isn't looking when the wyvern attacks him, pushing him back to the ground. He realizes that he isn't hurt and wonders if it is due to a pain reduction skill or a high endurance he has obtained. The wyvern circles in the air to attack him again, but Satu throws debris at the wyvern, making it turn around, leaving him alone, and heading towards the soldiers not too far from where they are. Realizing that it is his fault, the clodpole Satu chases after the wyvern. The wyvern hovers in the sky as the soldiers prepare to attack it. The soldiers shoot arrows at the wyvern, and Satu observes that the wyvern deflects most of the arrows with its hide. One of the soldiers uses magic against the wyvern, drawing it back as it turns around and heads towards Satu again. One of the soldiers tells Xena to stop the wyvern, and she uses magic against it, but it doesn't hold as she is blown into the air. Another uses magic to slow down Xena's fall before Satu leaps to catch her. Xena wakes up to find herself in Satu's arms. Satu leaps from where they are, and when they land, Xena thanks Satu for saving her life and tells him that she was fighting a wyvern. Our stupid MC thinks he would have fallen in love with Xena if he was in high school. Satu introduces himself to Xena, and Xena does likewise, giving him unnecessary information about herself in the process. Suddenly, an arrow flies past the stupid Satu's head. One of the two soldiers who Xena calls Lelio, who had come looking for Xena and who fired the arrow, asks Satu who he is, telling him to move away from her friend. Xena tells Lelio to hold on as Satu is fine and not a threat to her. Satu introduces himself to the soldiers and tells them that he is a traveling merchant. Lelio responds by telling him that he looks empty-handed for a merchant. Satu gives Lelio the reason why he appears empty-handed, telling her that his pack horse ran away scared by the meteorite. Lelio let him know that if he saw the meteorite while traveling, he would have run in the opposite direction. Lelio asks Satu to show her his papers, and he skillfully gives her reasons why he has none, thanks to his acquired skill of persuasion which he has gained. Lelio tells Satu that they can issue him replacement papers in Salue City. Satu follows them on a horse cart as they head to Salue City. On the way to Salue City, Xena lets Satu know that they are an investigative squad sent from the city to determine if there have been changes since the Starfall. Satu notices a wyvern's corpse and men on it, trying to piece it apart. Xena lets Satu know that armor and cloaks which are tough are made from wyvern hides, and that they can probably be sold for good money. Lelio adds to the conversation, letting them know that they will soon have to worry if there is wyvern meat in the meals that they are given to eat. Satu asks if the meat doesn't taste good, and the old man riding the cart tells him that it tastes terrible, as anyone who gets a taste of it wouldn't ever want to taste it anymore except for the slaves. Satu checks his map to see the information about the residents of Salue City. Xena calls Satu's attention as they approach Salue City, which gets visible afar off. Xena asks Satu if he has plans on staying somewhere once they reach Salue City, and Satu responds by telling her that he has plans of getting a room at the inn once they arrive in the city. Lelio suggests to him that he go to Gate Inn, as it is known for its good food. Upon arrival, Xena parts ways with Satu and promises to stop by to thank him later. The Dunderhead believes that he would have thought Xena was in love with him if he was younger. Lelio takes Satu to where he will have his papers renewed, and not too long after being asked questions and some information, he gets his papers renewed. Satu pays for the paperwork, and Lelio informs the issuing officer that the tax Satu is meant to pay has been waived in exchange for saving Xena's life. The issuing officer hands over to Satu a rectangle-shaped object which is his entering visa into the city of Salue, valid for 10 days. Satu is told that if he wants to stay longer than the given time, he would have to apply for an extension. The visa issuing officer warns the clodpole, Satu, that if he is caught by the soldiers with an expired visa, there will be a fine, and that if he cannot pay up, he will be turned into a slave. Satu thanks him and heads out of the building with Lilio. Lilio shows him the gate inn she talked about earlier. Satu thanks Lilio, whose other name is Iona, before leaving her side. Walking towards Gate Inn, Satu appreciates the city's landscape as the game creator that he is. A young lady suddenly snatches Satu by the arm, telling him that if he doesn't have a place to stay yet, he can come to her place. She takes Satu to her mother, who is an innkeeper, and tells her that they have got a customer. The dunderhead Satu makes it known that he would have gone for the young lady's mother if she was way younger and lighter in weight. What a bastard. The innkeeper asks Satu if he has any luggage, and Satu tells her that he lost his belongings during the meteor, also known as Starfall, which came down the other day. Satu tells the innkeeper that he will be staying there for 10 days and makes the payment for it. He asks for food and also makes the payment for it. The young lady, whose name is Martha, runs off to clean up a room. The innkeeper tells Satu about how the cowardly merchants were yelling during the Starfall, that the demon lord picked a fight with the dragons in Dragon's Valley and took off. Not knowing of the existence of any demon lord, Satu asks questions. The innkeeper tells him that a demon lord existed, and that it has been 60 to 70 years since a hero defeated him. Satu in his thoughts is glad that someone has defeated the demon lord already. Satu makes it known that if it all works like a game, then the demon lord will revive as the main character does the events. The innkeeper tells Satu that even if the demon lord attacks, he will hit the Labyrinth City area first, which is on the opposite end of the country. The innkeeper lets Satu know that wyverns are more of a concern in Salu City than anything else. Satu asks the innkeeper if dragons do not attack, and she responds by telling him that the last encounter they had with one was 2 years before when they were, as the dragons sleep in Dragon Valley and rarely come out. Soon, the innkeeper leaves as her attention is called elsewhere. Satu settles to eat his meal, and as he eats, Martha returns from her cleaning duties. Satu asks Martha about where he can get general supplies, and as she tells him, the bastard's eyes are fixated on Martha's breasts. She offers to take Satu to where he will get what he needs. Upon arrival, Satu notices a man harassing 2 people called demi-humans and asks the man if he needs anything from them. The man responds, telling Satu that he should put his slaves on a leash if they belong to him. Satu asks them if they are hurt before helping them pick up the pieces of wood that fell. They thank him before going on their way. Martha tells him that he is being nice to demi-humans, who are hated in Salu City due to the history they have, as demi-humans killed hunters and farmers who came to sell their crops in Salu City. Satu, the stingy bastard, haggles the price with one seller before paying for the item as he and Martha move around the town. Back at the inn, Satu and Martha are welcomed back by Uni and Martha. Martha introduces Satu to Uni and tells her that he will be staying with them starting from that night. He settles in before later asking for dinner from Martha. While eating, Satu gains a new skill of alcohol tolerance. After finishing his meal, Martha comes back to ask him if he enjoyed it. Satu retires to his bed and complains of having eaten too much. Satu, lying on his bed, reminisces on the time he has spent in the game-like world and makes it known that he hasn't seen any dragons, but that the lizardmen couldn't be any more realistic. Satu makes it known that the things he has seen so far do not match up with the games or stories he knows. Satu seems to believe that everything is a little too weird to be just a dream, and that if it isn't a dream, he wonders what it is as it feels like a game except he can't log out or save his progress. Satu wonders if he will return to reality if he beats the game-like world he has found himself in. Frustrated, he gets up from bed and heads out. Satu makes it known that having fun in the world he has found himself in is his primary aim, as returning home is secondary. The next morning, Martha comes to Satu's door and tells him he needs to hurry as his girlfriend is around. Satu walks out and meets Xena, who greets him. Satu compliments her outfit and asks her about why she is there. Xena tells Satu that she is not on duty for the day and that she is about to take him around the city. Satu thanks Xena for wanting to show him around the city. Moving around the city, Xena takes Satu to get something to eat. Satu pays for the Siryu patty they got, with Xena being displeased with it as she wants to pay for it as a thank you to Satu for saving her life the previous day. Satu tells her that it is fine as she has already done enough for him. After eating the Siryu patty, Xena takes Satu to get other foods to try out. Later on, Satu asks Xena about how she chants her spells before proceeding to ask her how long it took her to study it. Xena tells Satu that she started studying her spells seriously about 3 years before the time that they are. He makes it known to Satu that thinking back on it, she believes that it was preparing her for a life as a mage. Xena lets Satu know that it is fun being able to use magic and that someday she would love to be able to fly. Xena asks Satu about why he is practicing magic, and the Dunderhead tells her that he would like to be able to clean himself with magic and not have to go outside to do it, as the inn he is staying at has no bath. Xena laughs at the stupidity of Satu's reasoning and lets him know that she has never heard of anyone wanting to use magic for that very reason. Xana takes Satu for there, and soon Xena tells Satu that they have explored most of the city and asks him if there is any specific place that he would like to see. She obliges him and takes him to his place of choice. Satu asks Xena if it is okay that she allowed an outsider like himself to gain access to a military installation. Xena responds that it is okay, as wyverns are about the only thing that attacks places out in the country like Seryu City. Satu asks about a windmill they can see afar off, and Xena tells him that the mill can be converted to a battery quickly in case of a wyvern attack. Xena asks Satu if he would like to see it, and the clodpole gets elated at the idea. On the way to the windmill, they stop by a temple, and Xena shows him the depiction of the fight between the Demon Lord and the first hero. She points to an object in the depiction and lets him know that it is called the Holy Sword, which glows blue when the hero holds it. They were interrupted by a voice who told them that it is not necessarily a good thing that one can use the Holy Sword, as only heroes who answer the call of the young goddess Palion can fight the Demon Lord. Xena and Priestess Orna exchange pleasantries, and Xena tells Satu that Orna is a priestess that serves the goddess Palion. Orna tells Xena that she thought she was only interested in her study of magic, but that it seems romantic interests are now in her future. Xena quickly rebuffs Orna's thoughts and tells her that she has just met Satu. Soon, Orna's attention is called elsewhere. Xena and Satu leave the temple and head elsewhere on a horse cart. On their way, Xena shows Satu the anti-dragon tower present in Salu City, which can shoot down any dragon or flying beasts if they were to attack. Xena tells Satu about a large magical cannon installed inside the tower which makes it strong, but shows him another tower that was partly destroyed by a lesser dragon, making it not have extensive damage. Xena tells Satu about the black greater dragon that attacked and breached the outer walls of Salu City 40 years before the time that they were in. Satu asks Xena if the hero came to take care of the dragon. Xena responds by telling him that it is not the case, as it is said that the heroes are summoned using a great magical ceremony. Satu asks Xena if the Demon Lord controls monsters and attacks them. Xena tells Satu that it depends on the Demon Lord. They soon come to a halt as they reach a place where a man is telling some people that demi-humans are beings that didn't quite become demons and are the Demo Lord's ilk. The man lets them know that they will be righteous in providing holy judgment to the demi-humans. Satu asks Xena about what is going on, and Xena tells him that the man speaking is Zykuan's head priest. The priest sells divine rocks to the people, and tells them to use them in stoning the demi-humans to be righteous with the supreme being. As the stoning of the demi-humans begins, Xena goes to stand in front of the demi-humans to prevent them from being stoned further. She asks them to stop their vile ways, and the priest asks her if she is siding with the demons. Satu the Dunderhead realizes that he was too busy admiring Xena instead of taking action. Satu gets on a higher ground, and immediately, he realizes that the priest isn't the owner of the demi-human slaves, using his skill of telescopy and distant view. He scans and soon discovers who the master of the slaves is, a level 12 man called Urs, who also owned guild sewer rats as slaves. The head priest asks Xena if it is wrong to condemn a person with holy rocks, and tells the people gathered to stone her, as those protecting demons are also demons. Before they can do anything like that, Xena casts her magic of wind protection. Later, another priest comes towards them and tells the head priest that he is the only one saying that the demi-humans are demons. Xena tells the head priest that if he keeps agitating the citizens, he will cause a riot and that the Zykuan temple will be held responsible for the rebellion. Urs, the owner of the slaves sitting on crates away from the whole incident, makes it known that he is going to make a lot of money as a result of the slaves on that day. Satu approaches Urs and knocks him out, telling the congregation that the vermin are responsible for all that is happening. Satu lets the people know that Urs lent his slaves to the Zykuan priest, and also exposes the fraudulent bastard for wanting to take all of their money by lying that the stones are holy. He lets them know that Urs is the true demon worshipper. One of the people gathered around assumes that Urs must be the one originally controlling the demons from the shadows. This statement takes Satu by surprise, and suddenly Urs rises from the ground. Satu remembers knowing about the presence of a demon in the city when he first arrived. Suddenly, Urs strikes down the head priest with the other priest, telling everyone to clear out from the square. Xena tells Satu to take the demi-human girls and also get away from the square, telling him that she is going to get support. The girls tell Satu that they cannot leave the square because they have been ordered not to by their master Urs. One of the demi-human slaves makes it known to Satu that if they were to leave, their collars will tighten, and tells him to forget them. The grotesque one-eyed demon leaves Urs's body, killing him in the process. Satu soon notices that the demi-humans no longer have a master as a result of the blockhead, Urs's death. The demon makes it known to them that it is going to create a nest there for its master, and it immediately releases a magic, which knocks them out. When Sato wakes, he is welcomed to the demon's master's lair. Sato realizes that they are now on a mission to get out of the labyrinth they find themselves in. Sato introduces himself to the demi-humans, and they do likewise. Not liking their present names, he gives them new names. He hands over clean clothes to the demi-humans to clean their wounds and disinfect them. Sato hands over to the demi-humans food and water as well, treating them better than any master has ever done. Sato scans the map to see the lay of the land and makes it known that it all looks too easy. Sato makes it known that there are other people there with them and that it looks like Xena is with the other soldiers. Sato notices that the ugly one-eyeball schmuck of a demon isn't coming up on the search as well. The demi-humans tell Sato not to leave them as they will do anything. Sato assures them that he isn't going to leave them behind to the demi-humans' relief. Sato, noticing that the oldest one, which he named Liza, is the only one with any combat skills, hands her a weapon and tells her not to fight unless he orders her to. On their way, he gives orders to Tama and Pochi as well, and in the process, Sato acquires the skill of organization. Soon, Pochi tells Sato that she can smell blood coming from up ahead. Sato thanks her for the information and tells the three of them to wait behind as he plans to attack a monster. Liza voices her opinion and advises Sato on how they can go past the monster, either by slipping past it while it is consuming its unfortunate victim, or by attacking the monster from behind. Sato kills the monster, acquiring the title of Bug Killer. Liza collects the core of the monster, which she tells Sato sells well and is always present in monsters. Sato hands Liza a spear, with Liza handing her previous weapon over to Tama. Sato breaks the slaves' chains by shooting at them with his gun. Moving through the labyrinth, Sato notices that the demi-humans do not gain any experience by just being with him. Tama notices a bug up ahead, and Sato gives every one of them a job to do in taking the bug down, before asking Liza and Tama to get the core from the bug. Up ahead, Sato notices another bug, and asks Pochi to throw rocks at it. Soon, Pochi panics and runs away asking to be saved. Sato chases after her and calms her down as they reunite with Liza and Tama. Sato tells the scared little thing she can run away if things get dangerous like they just did, but that she cannot panic as she could die from it. They journey on through the lair that the one-eyed monstrosity has created for its master, killing bugs in the process, with the experience levels of the demi-humans also increasing. After resting for a few hours, the demi-humans and Sato continue on their journey. Sato lets the demi-humans handle the killing of a bug alone for the first time, and they execute excellently. Later on, they encounter a level 10 slime, which is easily taken care of by Liza, before running into a level 40 undead beast which Sato has to use his skills of traps to defeat. Soon, Sato and the demi-humans run into some people trapped in a web-like enclosure. They split up in a bid to save the trapped people. One of the freed people introduces himself to them as Jin Belton and lets them know that he is from a distinguished family and that they will get a reward if he gets out of there. Another introduces himself as Nidoran, a slave trader. Sato introduces himself to them as well, telling them that he has just recently become a merchant. Sato refuses to save a particular man, as he is the one who yelled at the demi-humans at the market the other day. Despite being trapped, the man still acts rude, and Sato tells him that he doesn't feel like saving him then, and that he should find his way out of there. A fire-wielding man comes close to the imbecile and tells him that if he keeps on yelling and attracts the monsters, he is going to burn his ass alive, down to his bones. Sato, the demi-humans, and the freed people move on through the labyrinth in their bid to make it out of there, as Pochi can hear fighting from the direction they are headed. When they get to the fight scene, it's a battle between men and the disgusting slimes. Sato asks for a torch from Tama and Pochi before asking them to distract the slimes and lure them away from everyone. Sato tells Liza to aim for their cores and to destroy them. The bastard, who is now free from the shackles of the web-like cocoon he was trapped in, decides to attack the slimes, almost getting destroyed by the slime, will get saved by the same demi-human kids. Sato sees Xena afar off getting attacked by a slime and quickly saves her from it. Xena is happy to see that Sato is safe and well. Orna, the priestess, tells Xena that she can celebrate her reunion later, as they first have to get rid of the monsters. Orna tells Sato that he seems to know the weak points of the monsters, judging by the display she has just witnessed. Sato tells Orna that the monsters have a core, and that they can be defeated if the core can be pierced. Liza drops on one knee and thanks Xena for protecting her from being stoned while on the surface earlier. Tama and Pochi also join in to thank her. Soon the soldiers are trying hard to break down a door when Tama notices a weird wall. Sato scans through and realizes that it is another hidden door above the area where they are. One of the soldiers comes to inform them that they found a treasure box. Upon opening it, the one-eyed monstrosity of a demon springs forth from it. The soldiers plan to take on the ugly beast and prepare attack formations, being wary of the fact that the monster can use magic. The lead soldier calls on Belton and Xena to provide those in front with defensive magic. Before Belton can do anything, the one-eyed monster strikes, confusing the humans and making them attack each other. To prevent the demi-humans from attacking the soldiers, Satu knocks them out. Belton casts his fire magic, but it has little effect on the one-eyed vermin, as the monster basks in the heat and also enjoys it. Satu decides that he has to get involved in the fight, but before he can do that, he is attacked by an undead beast. Satu falls through a gap with the undead beast, and when they land, Satu easily ends the beast, canceling it out of existence in one swing of the sword. When Satu resurfaces, he uses a mask for his face to prevent everyone from knowing he is the one, especially the demi-humans, as he plans to unleash powerful magic. Satu, under a mask, tells the soldiers to leave the demon to him. Xena and Belton keep attacking the demon. The demi-humans wonder where their new master is as they sit, observing the whole situation after waking up. The one-eyed bastard asks who Satu is, as he seems to be so strong as to be damaging a demon with rocks. Satu charges towards the demon and throws another rock at it, which causes a lot of damage to the monster. Realizing that it is going to be defeated by the humans, the demon completes the summoning of its master, a high-level demon. After coming forth, the high-level demon thanks the one-eyed demon for setting up the labyrinth and summoning it before picking it up and eating the one-eyed demon. The high-level demon's magic blows away Xena and Orna, but Satu quickly intervenes, catching them and bringing them to safety. Satu stands in front of the ugly bastard and draws out his sword. Satu fights the demon and resists everything that it throws at him. Satu soon realizes that he can't use his hero sword to kill the demon, as it does not shimmer blue. He decides to switch tack to magic, giving up on the holy weapon as he draws on another weapon he has. Satu fires a magical shot at the demon, which weakens it. In that moment, Satu remembers that to defeat a godlike demon lord, he can also use the title he has acquired, God Killer, alongside a divine sword, which he has without necessarily having to resort to using the holy sword, which has to be wielded by a person with the title of hero, which he doesn't have. Satu strikes at the demon with his divine sword, bringing it down instantly. Back on the surface, the demi-humans are elated to see Satu again. The golden-haired bastard who harassed the demi-humans comes towards them and thanks them for saving his worthless life earlier. Xena runs towards Satu and is glad that he is safe. Satu acquires more titles with the title of a hero, which he has coveted being among, a title he wants to have been able to get much earlier. Satu gets Liza, Tama, and Pochi finally named officially as his slaves. Satu gets told to look at some other slaves that didn't get sold, but Satu isn't interested until they make an appearance, and he is short of words as to how beautiful they look. Females will be the end of this fool. Seeing as Arisa pronounces his name very well, Satu suspects something and decides to test Arisa by saying something to her in Japanese. Satu ends up getting the slaves, adding Arisa and Lulu to the already existing Pochi, Tama, and Liza. They all get introduced to one another and start to bond. On the way back to the inn, Satu decides to bring up the fact that Arisa can speak Japanese some other time as the kids are with them. Satu decides to take the slaves to eat before heading back to the inn. He leaves them while eating to go do some shopping for them. Upon his return, he hands over what he got to them and they put it on. Soon, they arrive at the inn. Martha welcomes Satu back home. The innkeeper lets Satu know that he will need more space to accommodate the guests he has brought along with him. Satu asks if there are enough vacancies to accommodate the slaves, and the innkeeper lets Satu know that they are all booked up. Satu tells Martha to take Tama and Pochi to his room, as he will camp outside with the other three who are older. They make the bed to sleep on outside, and Satu tells them that if any troublemakers try to sneak in, they should take care of them without killing them, and that if they need any help, they should shout out and he will be there to help. Satu gets ready to go to bed, and Lulu offers to take his clothes off, but Satu tells her to see to her clothes alone as he is fine. When Satu turns to face Lulu and Arisa, they are stark naked. Satu tells them he didn't mean for them to take all their clothes off. Arisa asks Satu about their services. Understanding what it means, Satu tells them not to bother, and that they should put their clothes on else they will catch a cold. Lulu begins to cry, as she isn't expecting a master to say that. Satu nears Lulu and puts clothes around her body. Later that night, while Satu slept, the bloody Arisa comes over to use magic to charm Satu to sleep with her. Satu, seeing what is happening, commands Arisa to cancel all the magic she has used on him. Satu lets Arisa know that it is the second time she will be using psychic magic, as she first used it on the inn guests, to probably neutralize their disdain for Pochi and the other demi-humans. Satu asks her what she is trying to accomplish by controlling him with psychic magic, and Arisa tells him that she wants to service him. She makes it known to him that she has been interested since she set her eyes on him. Arisa mentions her full name to him, introducing herself as Tachibana Arisa, a Japanese like Satu. She lets Satu know that she was reincarnated in the Kuvort Kingdom while retaining her memories. She asks Satu if he was reincarnated as well, but Satu doesn't seem to understand what she means. Arisa begins to explain to Satu the distinction between being reincarnated and transferred. Arisa makes it known to Satu that people who are reincarnated died from old age or accidents in their old world before being reborn in the world that they are in. Arisa lets Satu know that people who are transported to the world are forced to appear via summoning magic and are either heroes or transfers. Satu asks Arisa if those reincarnated start as babies when they get into the world, and Arisa tells him that they do. Satu then asks if those that are transported retain their original appearance and keep the same features. Arisa tells Satu that it is so from what she has heard. Satu realizes that he doesn't fall into any of the categories. Satu asks Arisa about how she became a slave. The next morning, Martha knocks on Satu's door and lets him know that his girlfriend is around. Xena walks in to see two ladies naked with Satu, and she immediately leaves the room, telling Satu that she won't interrupt him. Satu follows after Xena and explains himself to her, letting her know that what she saw isn't what it looks like. Satu lets Xena know that he acquired the slaves to help him with his daily business. Satu, being the smooth-talking bastard that he is, compliments Xena's looks to help smoothen the mix-up over. It is made known that Arisa narrated how she became a slave to Satu and lets him know that she was once a princess, and then at some point in time, things began to suspiciously fail, with their land taking a worse turn, conflict starting to break out, and in the end, a neighboring country taking over. Arisa makes it known that after their country was taken over, they publicly executed the king, the crown prince, and their consorts to quell dissent. She makes it known to Satu that the imperial mages forced them, the only survivors, into slavery, and that one day the demon appeared from somewhere, destroying the castle and Castletown. Arisa makes it known that the villa she was staying in was burned down, and that together with Lulu, they ran for the mountains, and that they were near death when the slave trader Nidorn picked them up. Satu hands the money over to Arisa, to use in getting clothes and daily necessities for the others, trusting her to handle the negotiations and budgeting. The girls all leave, and Xena tells Satu that the girls seem to be more comfortable. Satu responds that the girls do not deserve to be treated like slaves. Xena asks Satu if he has any plans for the day, and Satu tells her that he plans on asking the odd jobs people to put him in contact with some housing or inn that allows demi-humans, as Liza and the girls cannot stay in the stables forever. Xena asks if she can accompany him, and he agrees to it. They both visit a place and are met by a lady who introduces herself as Nadi, telling them she helps take care of odd jobs. Nadi asks them what she can help them with, and Satu tells her he needs to find some lodging or a property he can rent. Nadi shows them options based on the budget at hand, but none of the properties interest Satu. Satu promises to come back later that day when she makes inquiries about other suitable properties for him. Satu asks Xena if there is anywhere she would like to go, and before she can talk, Nadi suggests the flea market, which recently opened in the plaza not too far from where they are. At the flea market, Satu runs into his slaves, and they are delighted to see him. The slaves show off their new outfits to Satu. Our stupid MC Satu tells Xena that the slaves are going to accompany them to the outdoor stage for the play that is going to be taking place. Satu gives the slaves some money to use in getting tickets. Satu, Xena, and the slaves settle down to enjoy the play. Satu makes it known that the story being played out in front of them is based on a true story where the protagonist, Zen, is a commoner wizard who has a tragic romance with a princess called Liltiana. Satu makes it known that the princess's fiance kills every member of Zen's extended family. Satu makes it known that Zen is also murdered by one of the princess's attendants, and that in the end, the princess takes her life. After the play, the clodpole Satu walks off alone, and on his way, he meets the woman who sat in his front during the play. The woman asks Satu how the ending of the play was. The woman tells Satu that it was terrible as a lot of things were changed from the original story. Later, Satu reunites with his slaves and they talk about the play they had just seen. Later on, Iona and two other soldiers, one named Rue, run into Xena and Satu. Xena asks Iona what brings her there. Iona makes it known to Xena that there was a battle with some Fang Ants. Iona makes it known that before they ran into the Fang Ants, they spotted a group of Were-Rat cavalry who crossed the border. Xena heals the third soldier who seems to be injured with her magic. Right behind them, they hear a scream. Quickly looking back, the scream is from Tama, who killed a huge ant. Lisa walks towards Satu and informs him that there aren't more ants lurking nearby. Satu bends down to inspect the ant. He realizes that they are not of the same breed, but wonders if they are the monsters that the border guards fought. Looking at the map, Satu realizes that there is an influx of ants heading their way. The dunderhead Satu quickly tells Pochi and Tama to get their weapons. He also tells Arisa to go get Lulu and for Liza to get the curtain they used for the bed. Soon, the city bells start to ring to alert everyone of an emergency. Martha and her mother are standing by the inn's door when the bells begin to toll. The ants approach the city walls, and the protective barrier against monsters above the city repels some of them, not allowing them to get through, with a lot of the ants still making it through the barrier. Satu tells Arisa to take Lulu and hide at the back of the bar nearby. Satu tells Pochi and Tama to protect the inn. Satu lets them know that he is going to build a barricade with Liza before they all then get rid of the monsters near the entrance. The soldiers alongside Satu and his slaves take on the ants that make it through the barrier as they invade the city. Liza tells Satu to leave it to her as she charges at the ants. Tama and Pochi play their parts as well as they kill some of the ants. Satu realizes that a few of the ants might have made it into the building where Nadi works and decides to go check it out. Satu tells Liza to handle things there as he departs. Upon getting into the building, Satu calls out to Nadi and asks her if she is alright. Nadi lets him know that she is alright. Nadi thanks Satu and her manager, who appears soon after, for their concern, and introduces her manager, an elf, to Satu. She lets him know that Satu was requesting help with finding a home for rent, and that he saved her life. Nadi makes it known to Satu that the manager is a forest spirit, an elf. Satu asks if she means an elf with long ears, and Nadi tells him that it is incorrect, as long ears are different from elves, and that they have been mistaken to mean the same for a long time. Upon coming out from Nadi's place, Satu is met by Xena, who tells him that they are finished up on their end too, and that she is going to be joining the guardsmen and make sure that there aren't any other problems in town. Xena makes it known to Satu that she is sad that their outing ended partway through, but that detecting enemies is a specialty of wind magic which she possesses. Xena makes it known that if she doesn't get going soon, the nearby villages might come under attack. Satu bids Xena goodbye. Just then, a soldier comes along and asks if Satu is Xena's master. The stupid soldier makes it known that the law says that they sell cores to the city government and that he should hand it over. Satu maneuvers his way around the situation. Later on, Satu and his slaves settle down to have dinner. Noticing that Lulu isn't still feeling okay, Satu heads out to look for a pharmacy. On his way, he is stopped by two men who he saved in the labyrinth earlier. They tell him to allow them to buy him a drink. Satu tells them that he is headed somewhere, but it falls on deaf ears as the men have their way and not only buy him a drink, but take the fool to a brothel as well. On his way back to the inn, he is attacked by some creatures called shadow stalkers. Satu defeats them with his gun. He sees two injured creatures and quickly takes them to Nadi's place. Realizing that Nadi and the manager are both sleeping, Satu has no choice but to pick the lock to gain entry. Upon entering the building, Satu realizes that the manager is awake alongside another lady and apologizes for intruding. He makes it known that he has brought someone who knows the manager badly injured and that he is hoping that they can treat him right away. When Satu opens the cloth, the manager and the lady with him are shocked to realize that Satu brought an elf to them. The bloody whore Arisa is displeased with Satu for having visited the brothel when he went looking for a pharmacy for Lulu, as she was right there for him. The clodpole. Satu lets Arisa know that the previous night when he went looking for medicine for Lulu, he rescued a beastfolk person on the verge of death. Lulu, lying on the bed near them, sits up and Satu asks her how she feels. Lulu tells Satu that she feels a lot better than the previous day. Satu lets Lulu know that she bought her some medicine. Lulu thanks Satu for this. Soon, Satu heads over to the general store where the two creatures he brought in the previous night were. Satu asks about their health, and he is told that they are both asleep at that moment. He is informed that Mia, the elf, doesn't seem injured but is just worn out and on the brink of exhaustion. He is told by Nadi that the manager has said that the symptoms Mia suffers are similar to prolonged MP deprivation. Nadi makes it known that a mana potion will speed up Mia's healing process, but that they are very expensive. Nadi makes it known that even if they cannot afford it, they can take Mia to a place rich in mana, like the ley line intersection or a source. Nadi makes it known that there are two such sources around them, the Count's Castle and the Valley of Dragons. Nadi and Satu head upstairs to see Mia. Nadi introduces herself to Mia and lets her know that she works there and that the manager owns the store. Mia asks who the person behind the door is, and Nadi tells Mia that it is the person who saved her, as well as her friend the Red Helmet who Satu saved alongside her on the brink of death. Satu walks in and introduces himself to Mia as a merchant. Nadi asks Mia if she would like something to eat, and she obliges. Nadi heads out, leaving Mia alone with Satu. After spending some time with Mia, he stands to leave, and Mia holds him back, urging him to stay. Later, Tama and Pochi are elated to see Satu as he walks up to them, where they are having fun with the educational cards he bought the previous day. Soon, while eating, Satu tells them about the princess elf he saved alongside the Were-Rat protecting her. The kids are enthusiastic to meet the princess, and Satu informs them that they can go see her once they are done eating lunch. Tama, Pochi, and Arisa introduce themselves to the princess and spend time with her before Satu leaves them behind. Satu walks downstairs, leaving the kids with the princess. He meets with Nadi, who asks him if he does own a cart. The bastard lies through his teeth that he had horses carrying his wares, but that the starfall from a while back made them run off on him. Nadi recommends that Satu buy a drawn cart, if he can afford it. Nadi lets Satu know that a merchant that the manager knows is going to be retiring, and that he is selling his cart along with 2 horses for pulling it. Satu lets Nadi know that he lacks experience when it comes to riding a cart, as he is as useless as they come in that regard. Lulu makes it known to Satu that she has driven a 1-horse wagon before. Upon hearing this, Satu tells Lulu that she will teach him, and proceeds to purchase the drawn cart that Nadi recommends. Satu goes camping with his slaves, and while at it, he educates Tama and Pochi in a way that seems complex before Arisa steps in to simplify it with practicality, making it easier to understand for the 2 kids. Later on, Satu is approached by the animals he once fed, as they come to show their appreciation for the food he once gave to them by bringing him something in return. Sensing that they need what they have brought to him, he offers them meat in return, and they happily run off with it. Satu officially becomes the owner of a cart as he receives the papers from Nadi. Arisa suggests that they use the cart to carry Mia home. Nadi lets Satu know that Mia is from the elf village, southeast of the Shiga kingdom. Satu tells them that they will talk it over with the manager before anything is done, and that in the meantime, he needs to learn how to drive a cart from Lulu. On their way, while learning how to drive a cart, Satu realizes that Lulu isn't as free with him as the others, and doesn't converse much around men unless it's the right subject, as he believes that Lulu has trouble holding a conversation. Soon Satu begins to understand how to ride the drawn cart, acquiring the title of coachman for himself. Soon Satu feels uneasy, and after passing by another cart, Satu spots a mysterious owl sitting on a tree, which flies away as soon after Satu spots it. Soon they return home and are welcomed by Tama and Pochi. Arisa also approaches Satu with Mia and Liza. Satu asks Mia if she is okay walking around outside. Arisa makes it known that she thinks that the potions that the manager brought have helped Mia a lot. Satu makes it known to Mia that he is glad that she is feeling better. Satu compliments Arisa before she suggests that they have something to eat to celebrate Mia's recovery. Once again, Satu sees the mysterious bird he previously saw on their way home, as it seems to have followed them back somehow. Pochi asks what the matter is, and Satu responds by telling them that the bird on the wall is the same as the one he saw before. Soon, the bird flies away. Satu goes to see the manager who sits by Mies, the were-rat who was with Princess Mia. He sits down to hear more from him about what happened. Hearing from the were-rat named Mies, Satu makes it known that Mia was kidnapped by wizards from her elf village and was imprisoned, and that after escaping, she ran into the were-rat Mies, also called Red Mask, who saved her life. Satu makes it known that together, the princess and Mies tried to make it to Siryu City hoping to meet the manager. Satu makes it known that the manager seems to have an idea as to why Mia was kidnapped from her village, but that he doesn't seem to want to share. Satu makes it known that he needs to discuss with the manager about escorting Mia back home. Just then, they hear a scream coming from downstairs. Satu and the manager quickly head down, and upon getting downstairs, they realize that the kids are just scared as a result of the thunder which is striking. Suddenly, Tama's eyes get fixated on something. The bumbling idiot Satu asks her what is wrong before also looking in the direction only to see the bird that has been following them all this while, with a man suddenly appearing near the bird. The man standing in front of them uses psychic power on them all as Mies the were-rat tries to attack him, as he recognizes the hooded figure. The magic gets overwhelming for Satu, and he looks to his right only to realize that Arisa is trying to use her psychic magic as well to counter the hooded man's own. Satu resists himself from the effects of the psychic magic and quickly scans the figure in front of him. Satu realizes that his name Zen sounds familiar and wonders where he has heard the name before. Satu quickly remembers that the name belongs to the hero from the play that they watched. Zen makes it known that he has come to retrieve Mia. Satu introduces himself to the master sorcerer as a merchant. The sorcerer tells the blockhead C2 that he does not need a merchant, but that it seems a hero's descendant is quite remarkable. The sorcerer lets Satu know that he is impressed as he can stand and talk in his presence while withstanding his fear. Satu wonders who the sorcerer thinks is the descendant of a hero. The sorcerer makes it known to C2 that he has intended to let him live, but that should Satu defy him, he will show him no mercy. Satu responds by telling the sorcerer that he would rather avoid any violence but that Mia is a friend of his, and that he is not going to let the sorcerer take her anywhere without her consent. The bumbling idiot Satu tells the sorcerer to leave. The hooded sorcerer lets Satu know that if he is going to protect Mia, he is going to have to do so by strength of arms, as his madness is not so shallow as to be stopped with pithy protests. The clodpole Satu lunges at the sorcerer head-on, and is immediately in for a rude shock as his punch phases through the sorcerer's body. Satu realizes immediately that the sorcerer can control shadows. The sorcerer is impressed with Satu as he sees him as a martial artist who claims to be a merchant. Satu tells the sorcerer that he has never met a sorcerer who can control shadows before. The sorcerer tells Satu that he is courageous for someone in his situation. Arisa tells the sorcerer to get his hands off Satu and uses her magic against him. it does not affect him. Seeing his face, Arisa calls the sorcerer a wraith. The sorcerer tells Arisa that he is rather offended that she will associate him with such a low-level undead. Satu strikes at the sorcerer's shadow whip to the amazement of the sorcerer, as he believes nothing except a magic item should be able to interact with his shadow whip. Arisa makes it known that the difference in level is too high. Mia tells them that it is okay and that they can run. Arisa replies, telling her that she cannot just leave her and run, as she isn't trying to protect her because they are friends, but because her master wants to free her. Suddenly, Arisa unleashes a special and unique skill at the sorcerer, which the sorcerer finds impressive, but doesn't dent him in any way as he resists it. The sorcerer tells Satu that strength beyond one's capacity only brings ruin, and that if he is going to keep her from becoming a plaything for the gods, Satu should keep Arisa from using her unique skill. After saying this, the sorcerer leaves with Mia through some sort of portal, and tells Satu that to defeat him, a person must have the means for defying the unjust laws of nature itself. The sorcerer tells Satu that if he doesn't fear death, he should visit the cradle. Satu tells Liza and Lulu to get treatment for the others, and promises to come back with Mia. Satu immediately jumps through the portal before it closes, and follows after the master sorcerer. When the dunderhead Satu comes out of the portal, he finds himself in a space. Using his wits, he escapes from the space and finds himself standing in front of the sorcerer, who has Mia hostage. The sorcerer tells Satu that it is impossible, and asks him how he was able to escape his shadow prison, the space that Satu just left. He tells Satu that someone like him should be unable to struggle against it. Satu tells the sorcerer that he has a light amulet which makes him resistant to magic. The sorcerer tells him that there is no room for cheating, and that only one who has conquered the cradle should have access to the room they stand in, as those are the rules. The meathead Satu tells the sorcerer that he seems to see himself as some sort of game master. This statement from the bumbling idiot gets the sorcerer annoyed, and he tells Satu that his cradle is no plaything, and that only a proper hero can conquer it to reach where they stand, as only that kind of person would have earned the right to battle the undead king. The sorcerer lets Satu know that he can never die as long as he bears the Supreme Being's blessing. With Satu's priority being to get Mia out of the sorcerer's grasp, he runs towards him, and with a snap of the finger, the master sorcerer and the undead king send Satu out of his master chamber. Satu wonders where he is, and when he looks ahead of him, he sees a big tree standing in front of him. Satu thinks to himself if the structure in front of him is the cradle that the sorcerer is talking about. Satu makes it known that Mia is somewhere inside the massive tree in front of him, and that he would not have to worry about the route to get Mia home if he can rescue her, as the place is adjacent to Count Siryu's territory. On his way towards the entrance, Satu kills some flying ants. When Satu opens the door, he meets with various obstacles and challenges, which he handles efficiently. Satu makes it known that there are 200 floors to the cradle. Soon Satu meets a dryad on his way, and realizes that he can quickly open a shortcut to the upper floors if he can defeat the dryad. The dryad tells Satu that if he wants to fight, it will have to wait till another time. Satu tells the dryad that it is not going to be an option. Moving near Satu, the dryad asks him to feed her by giving her an MP. The dryad locks lips with Satu, gaining the needed MP in the process. As a means of appreciation, the dryad opens a corridor for him. Satu steps into a laboratory and soon realizes why the place needs Mia. Satu exits the laboratory and requests for a portal to the upper floors from the dryad. She grants his request and agrees to send him to the 100th floor, the Guardian Knight's chamber, as she can't send him to where the cradle's master is. Before going, the dryad warns Satu that the Guardian on the 100th floor is tough, and tells him to be careful. Soon Satu finds himself on the 100th floor and is congratulated by one of the artificial intelligence ladies he meets there for making it to the 100th floor. Satu is told that defeating the Guardian who resides in the chamber will grant him the right to venture onward. Seeing a clue, Satu wastes no time in bringing the Guardian down with one bullet to the head. One of the ladies decides to fight Satu on her own, telling the others to leave it to her as they retreat. Satu wastes no time in knocking out the lady before proceeding in his quest to get to the undead king to rescue Mia. Once again, Satu comes across another dryad which looks like it's dead, as its color looks pale, unknowing to Satu that the dehydrated bastard just needs water. As soon as Satu innocently pours water on it, the dryad responds, grabbing the water from Satu's hands and gulping it relentlessly. Next, the greedy vermin asks Satu for MP, and makes it known to him that he gave the other variant of her already floors below. Satu asks the dryad for transportation further up, and the dryad agrees, sending Satu to the 180th floor. As she lets him know that the line connecting the dryads has been severed, When Satu arrives at the 180th floor, he realizes that bugs are eating the connecting line. Satu takes on a few bugs and defeats them before proceeding to meet the undead king. When Satu gets to the presence of the undead king, the sorcerer tells Satu that he never imagined it would take him so little time to get back to him. The clodpole Satu hopes to be able to get Mia back without having to fight. The sorcerer makes it known to Satu that it cannot happen. He lets Satu know that by coming there, he has earned the rights, but that he lacks the credentials to face him. The sorcerer tells Satu that he must face an enemy he has no chance of defeating and earning the title of hero. The sorcerer tells Satu that his reward will be the holy sword, Gjallarhorn, which he holds. The sorcerer shows Satu his opponents, including 2 of the ladies from the 100th floor, before granting all of them increased abilities, including Satu, as he wants to witness a suitable battle to the death. After doing this, the undead king leaves with Mia, leaving Satu and his opponents alone to fight. Satu's opponents charge toward him, and he stands his ground fighting them off. After facing a guardian, he fights against the ladies similar to the ones he met on the 100th floor. After a while, Satu asks them why they fight for a master who treats them like pawns. The ladies respond by telling Satu that it is their desire. Using magic, the ladies project arrows towards Satu, which he evades. Soon, Satu defeats them all and heads towards the undead king, who claps for him as he approaches, telling him what he did is magnificent. The grotesque-looking sorcerer welcomes the new hero, handing him the holy sword, Gjallarhorn, as promised. Satu asks the undead king what he wants, and the sorcerer tells Satu that he desires to discover a hero that might be able to kill him. The sorcerer tells Satu about his past life and how he met his end at the hands of unjust brutality. He lets Satu know that he was reincarnated as an infant, and that he was foolish enough to think that his life would meet a different end. The sorcerer lets Satu know that a noble who had fallen for his wife imprisoned him and executed him on pretenses. He lets Satu know about the vision he had where he saw the heads of every last member of his family strewn about the castle's grounds, and beneath the stand lay the corpse of his wife. The sorcerer lets Satu know that he turned the remains of his family and any others who met their ends there into undead before going after those who wronged him. The undead king makes it known to Satu that after accomplishing his revenge, he sought means to end his life and rejoin his wife, but that he found it impossible as nothing worked. The undead king tells Satu to strike him down before he becomes a demon lord in spirit as well. Satu obliges the undead king and uses the holy sword, Gjallarhorn, to strike the sorcerer down. All that is left of the sorcerer is his wedding ring, which Satu picks up. After eliminating the undead king, the cradle begins its self-destruction sequence. Satu quickly grabs Mia and revives her. When she comes around, Satu asks Mia if she knows how to shut down the self-destruct sequence. The stupid elf gives up quickly as she can't do it. Satu tells Mia that there will be another out and that they can still escape. Satu believes that the sorcerer didn't intend to sacrifice Mia and that there will be a way out for her. The bumbling idiot Satu makes it known that if he sticks close to Mia, he should be able to warp out of the place with the elf. Seeing as he has to still save the ladies he has just fought with, Satu carries Mia to the ladies and joins all their hands together, and with the mage power of Mia, they disappear from the cradle. Satu runs to save the lady called Number 7, whom he fought on floor 100, as she is the only one left. The building self-destructs, and Satu races against time to make it out of the building alive. Satu makes it known that he has to make it to the hole he made in the outer wall earlier when he took on the bugs on the 180th floor. He makes it in time to the lady, grabs her, and goes to meet a dryad, asking her to move them outside of the tree. The dryad agrees to send them to a hollow in a tree in the basin if Satu can give her seeds and magic in return for her help. Satu gives her the seeds and the MP that she requested before they are transported outside. Upon getting outside, a tidal wave created as a result of the self-destruction of the cradle heads towards Satu's way. With the dryad telling Satu that she will be fine as long as the forest exists, the dunderhead Satu begins to run. Satu activates his transport skills, making it easier for him to run. Satu uses his fire shot to get away from the impending danger, escaping and making it out safely. Satu reunites with his slaves who are happy to see him. Upon seeing Arisa, Satu remembers what the undead king said about her, telling Satu to keep her from using her unique skills if he cares about her, to prevent her from becoming like the undead king, as the power is too much for any mortal. Soon, Mia and the manager make an appearance. Mia thanks Satu for what he has done for her. The identical ladies who he saved their lives also thank Satu, telling him that not only did he spare their lives despite being his enemies, but that he also rescued the one they call Number 7 from death. They ask of their master, and Satu tells the ladies that he has passed on. Satu hands over the master sorcerer's ring to one of the ladies. They immediately acknowledge Satu as their new master, and tell him that they will now obey him as their new master. The ladies tell Satu that they will need some time before they can stand by his side, as they have to return their former master's wedding ring ring to his wife's grave. Satu tells them that he doesn't mind, and the ladies tell Satu that they would like to appoint one of them to remain at his side in the meantime before they all join him. Satu tells the ladies that he doesn't mind if they all go together, but the ladies refuse and ask him to pick one of them. Satu tells them that they should decide amongst themselves who stays. After a little game of rock, paper, and scissors, it is determined who stays. Satu renames the lady as Nana as she joins his ranks. Satu partly lies to the Seiryu soldier, who questions him about the events that happened to him. Xena comes running towards Satu as she is worried about him. The soldiers excuse Satu and Xena as they talk to each other. Satu hands over the earrings he bought for her the day they saw the play. Satu lets Xena know that he accepted the job of transporting the elf child back to her home. He promises Xena that once he gets back, he will tell her stories about his journey. Soon, Satu and his slaves depart with Mia for the elf village. Xena comes running after them on a horse and informs Satu that once her brother becomes an adult and becomes the head of the family in the coming spring, she will do as she wishes and come join him, as she has already spoken with her brother and agreed upon it. Journeying towards the elf village, the home of Mia, Satu, and the girls stop by the road to have a meal. The dunderhead Satu compliments Liza's cooking and tells Lulu and Nana that he can tell they also worked hard on the meal. Liza prepares snacks for them to nibble on as they continue their journey. Satu makes it known that he is finally getting used to the parallel world that he has found himself in. Satu tells his slaves and Mia that before they take off, they should all prepare according to the roles he has assigned to them. After adequate preparations, Mia, Satu, and his slaves set out and continue on their journey towards Mia's elf village. After some time, they stop on the way to rest while the kids also play with each other. Satu gives the kids a mission to go investigate and conduct a search around a stone not too far from where they are. Arisa, being interested, joins the kids. Satu tells them that he is going to call on them when it is time to leave and that they shouldn't wander off too far. Satu hears Mia playing a beautiful tune using just a leaf and decides to join her. He watches her play, and soon after, he tries to make sounds as well. Satu is with Mia and the others when Arisa, who joined the kids, comes to call on Satu's attention. Arisa takes Satu to the top of a stone and shows him a structure called a stone torii, which fell over. The structure resembles something that Satu has seen before. The bumbling idiot, Satu gets lost in thought and dozes off while standing and only opens his eyes when Arisa calls out to him. Satu tells Arisa that he was just thinking about the shrine he used to play at when he was a kid. Satu makes it known to Arisa that the torii looks like a broken travel gate. Satu tells Arisa that they should go look for Tama and Pochi and get ready to depart. Soon the group gets back on the road and continues their journey towards the elf village. On the way, Satu spends the time studying how magic works. Satu completes lessons on beginner's shadow magic and makes it known based on what he has seen that he thinks the founder of magic in the world that he is in was a programmer as well. Satu tries creating a magical spell of his own and gets lost in his thoughts. Arisa complains as he did the same thing at the stone torii. Satu makes it known to them that he is concentrating too hard on the fundamentals of a new spell. Arisa asks Satu if he is a researcher of spells, and Satu replies by telling Arisa that he is just creating a spell that he thought of and hopes that Mia will try it later. Soon, Satu sees pop-ups on the map and wonders if they are ratmen. At that moment, Satu remembers the last conversation he had with the red mask called Mies, who told him that he was going to look for his friends after he fully recovered from his injuries. He remembers Mies telling him that they were all separated while trying to protect the princess. Suddenly, Satu asks Liza to stop the carriage. Princess Mia reunites with the Ratman, and Satu tells Arisa that the Ratman acted as decoys for Mia to escape the cradle. One of the Ratmen speaks to Satu, thanking him for saving their lives. Satu asks for Mia's help with the spell he mentioned earlier, and this time Mia isn't useless and can help with it. Later, when on Night's Watch, Satu makes it known that when it comes to creating new spells, he will restrain himself when doing Night Watch so that he doesn't get lost in thought, leaving the girls vulnerable. Satu decides to try out his storage experiment, placing objects at different distances to see the stretch to which he can store objects. Satu realizes that he cannot store objects that are too far out from him. Satu also realizes that he can conveniently separate each component of blended things once they get into his storage, which gives Satu an idea that it can come in handy if they happen to be near an ocean, but Satu soon realizes that it is of no use. The next morning, Satu and the girls have breakfast before setting out on their journey again, and reunite with the Ratmen at the Ratman's grave, where all the Ratmen who died protecting Mia are buried. Red Mask thanks Satu for saving his friends. Mia steps forward and prays for the dead Ratmen that the trees should let them rest in peace. Red Mask steps forward and tells Satu that he wishes to bestow upon him the gift of a bell which was crafted by the elves because he trusts he is worthy to possess it, as he has garnered the trust of Princess Mia. Satu and the girls bid goodbye before they leave. Satu and his traveling companion stop by a tavern, where after having their meal, Satu spends the night with a lady before proceeding on their journey the next morning. Arisa, knowing about his night escapes, is displeased as she believes that Satu has no reason to be with any other woman outside, as he has enough of them already to choose from. Satu makes it known that as their guardian, it would be ethically wrong to lay a finger on any of them. On their way, they pass by the small-time crook of a city official who tried to take their flying ant cores off them back in Sirius City as he just harassed two peasants. Satu offers a recovery potion to the two peasants to heal up, as one of them has a fractured clavicle as a result of the encounter. The injured man thanks Satu. Walking back to the cart, Arisa tells Satu that he is such a generous man. Satu replies to Arisa that he couldn't just leave the man like that, and Arisa lets him know that he should make sure he has some for. Realizing that Arisa has a point, Satu makes it known that he will try to learn alchemy and how to make his potions. Later on, Arisa is impressed with how multi-talented Satu is as she watches him do alchemy while the kids play with their educational cards. While at it, Satu also learns transmutation. The dunderhead Satu realizes he will run out of materials soon and decides he will get some the following day. After creating the magic potion, Satu makes it known that he will try to create magic items when night falls. Satu is at work that night creating a magic item when Arisa joins him. Satu asks Arisa if she would like to give it a try. Later on, they set out on their journey. Again, Satu makes it known that unlike Sirius City, there are blank areas on the map where they are, and he would rather spend time checking it out to avoid putting everyone in danger. They stop by to inquire about an alchemy shop from a man who directs them to go to a place on the edge of town, as they will find one there. Satu heads over to the described place with Liza, and when they get there, they meet a woman whom they tell that they would like to buy some elixir for some potions. Satu asks the woman if there are any in stock. The woman replies to Satu that she can sell 3 to him if they are for stamina recovery before telling him what it would cost. Satu asks for other items and buys what he needs before leaving the alchemy shop. Satu tells Liza to return to the other girls as there is a place he would like to visit. Liza wants to accompany Satu, but he tells her she should head back and prepare dinner with the others. Liza obliges and leaves. The bumbling idiot Satu disguises and goes back to the woman in the alchemy shop to procure what he needs. When he leaves, Satu decides to explore the blank areas on the map. Satu walks into the blank area and finds himself in the Forest of Illusions. Satu notices on the map that some people are approaching his location, and soon, Satu gets attacked by a mage and some soldiers. The mage uses earth magic on Satu, but it does not affect him. While trying to defend himself from attacks, Satu apologizes for trespassing into their territory. The mage is in awe as to how her magic doesn't work on Satu and calls on her mistress. When the mage's mistress arrives, the old hag kneels before Satu and tells him that it is a pleasure to meet him. She introduces herself to Satu as the witch who watches over the mana source of the Forest of Illusions. The witch takes Satu to the place and apologizes to Satu for the rudeness of her apprentice to an emissary of Bolenan. Satu is confused and believes it is the bell hanging by his waist, given to him by a red helmet that has made the witch think that he is an emissary of Bolenan. Satu lets the witch know that there has been a misunderstanding and that he is not an emissary of Bolenan, though he has an elf that is of the clan in his care. As Satu speaks, the apprentice mage called Inenema Ana, who attacked Satu earlier, comes out and apologizes to him. Satu tells her that he accepts her apology. Later on, Satu watches as Inenema Ana cooks up potions in a pot. Ine tells her mistress that they will be able to keep their pact, and Satu asks the mistress about the pact. The witch lets Satu know that they have a pact with a count called Count Kuhanu to supply him with 300 vials of a special potion twice a year in exchange for keeping outlaws and hunters out of the forest. The witch asks Satu if he has an interest in potion making, and Satu tells the witch that he has only just started learning. The witch tells Satu that she will teach him her special recipe, but that in return, Satu will do her a favor. Satu agrees to do it as long as it is within his capacity. The witch lights Satu's path before Satu leaves her side and sets out on the mission given to him by the witch. Satu makes it known that the witch asked him to deliver a letter in return for some great information. Satu makes it known that the person he is to deliver the letter to is a giant of the forest, and that he is looking forward to it. Later on, Satu reunites with his girls and is told by Arisa that they were all worried about him as they did not know where he went. Satu is at a tavern drinking when a man approaches him and asks him if he is the rich man who wants to put in an order. Satu thanks the man for seeing him and asks him if he is the owner of the workshop before telling him that he is going to need him to make vials for him. The man lets Satu know that there are a lot of regulations in the town and that he cannot just make them. The man lets Satu know that there are ways around it. He welcomes Satu to learn pottery at his workshop. Soon Arisa and the girls come to get Satu, and he asks them how they were able to find him. Mia tells him that it is a secret. On his way to the potter's workshop, Satu notices on the map that it seems like the stupid girl who attacked him earlier, Ini, is being chased by some bad people. Satu and the girls immediately run in Ine's direction to help. When they get to her, Satu tells her that they are going to help, and he asks her about what the men are after. Ine tells Satu that the men are after the potions meant for the pact. Satu tells her to leave it all to him and just head into the city. Ine collides with some logs of wood being moved by people and crashes. When Satu and some of the girls get to Ine, some of the vials containing the potions meant for the pact have been stolen by some bastards. Satu quickly tells Liza, Pochi, and Tama to go after the ones who ran while they count what's left of the vials. Out of the 300 vials, they only realize 120 of them are safe, with 180 being destroyed. Satu tells the girls that they should deliver what's left before figuring out what to do next. When they get to Count Kuhanu's place, they explain their ordeal and are told by one of the two men in front of them that despite understanding their situation, a pact remains a pact, which should be fulfilled. Ini is told that she needs to deliver 300 vials of potion by sundown that very day. At that moment, Satu realizes that he has heard the voice speaking with them before. Satu asks if they can receive permission to get the rest of the potions from the market. It gets turned down as the pact is between the Witch of the Forest of Illusions and Count Kuhanu. The silver-haired man speaking with them tells them that the only potions that may be delivered are those made by the witch. Satu realizes that something is off as the witch. Despite saying that it is a special potion, does not make it sound like it could only be made by her, as Ini made the potion in his presence. Satu realizes that it will also mean that the potion made by Ine isn't acceptable since it wasn't made by the witch. Satu makes it known that the man sounds as if he wants the delivery to fail so that the pact won't go through. Suddenly, Satu knows where he saw the two men, as they were present in the tavern when he went to see the potter. Satu remembers their discussion and wonders if they plan to get rid of the Forest of Illusions so that they can build a new town over it. Satu makes it known to the man that he is sure that the potion being specifically made by the witch isn't part of the plan, and asks him if he knows who added it to it. The silver-haired man asks Satu how a commoner like him knows about the details of the pact. Satu responds by telling him that he is a guest of the witch. The silver-haired bastard compromises and tells Satu that he will accept the delivery of potions that are of the same quality as the ones the witch makes. Satu asks the man if it means that he is going to accept the delivery of potions that are of even higher quality than the witch's own. The silver-haired man tells him that if he can collect such, then he is welcome to try. Satu ensures that he has the agreement written down before leaving his presence. Ini panics as she doesn't know how they will be able to do it in such little time. Arisa is confident and tells her that her cheater of a master will figure it out. Arisa tells them that even if they can make the potions, they will need vials which they do not have, making the task impossible. The bumbling idiot Satu goes to meet the potter and tells him that he is going to need 180 vials and that he needs it by sundown on that very day. The potter tells Satu that it is impossible. Satu tells him that he doesn't plan on dragging him into it all and that he is just going to need to borrow his space and his kiln. The potter agrees to their request and tells them that he knows that it is impossible, but that he is going to help them out. Satu thanks him, and the potter tells Satu and his girls that they need to get things started. Satu looks at his girls and tells them to help him in making the vials needed for the potions. Satu tells Mia and Arisa to help Inenimana. As the girls start to make the vials, they realize that the work is hard and isn't as easy as they thought it would be. The potter is impressed with the vials that Satu crafts and tells him that the only problem is that it would usually take 5 days for the wares to dry in the season that they are in. Satu asks him if he means it will take 5 days before they can put the vials in the kiln, and the potter tells him that it is what he said, and lets him know that thicker ones require about a month of drying or they will burst in the kiln. Satu creates a magical spell for Mia, which she then uses to dry the clay. The potter is in awe as he doesn't know that magic like the one that Mia just used exists. With the magic in play, the potter makes it known that they will be able to put the vials in the kiln immediately. The potter tells them that he will get started and that they should keep the vials coming. They all get to work, creating the vials and potions, and before long the potions are ready. The potter tells them that he is almost done with the vials as well, with the cooling being all there is left to do, and that the vials should be ready by sundown. Soon a group of miscreants walk up to them and ask them if they are making potion vials without permission. Satu, having suspected something earlier, makes it known that he is glad he placed a marker on the man leading the group. The potter tells the group that he is only teaching them pottery and that the products aren't for sale. The man leading the group is no fool and tells the potter that his lame excuse wouldn't work. He tells the potter that they are going to have to get rid of the kiln. He tells his men to destroy it. They destroy the kiln and the vials inside of it, After destroying the kiln, the good-for-nothing bastard leading the charge makes it known that they would be expecting the delivery of the 300 vials of potion as agreed by sundown. The potter looks to Satu and tells him that he is sorry, as there is nothing more he can do. Satu apologizes to him for the destruction of his kiln before asking if he can have a moment alone with the girls. Satu asks Inenemana if they can use the little creature sitting on her head to talk to the witch. Arisa picks up one of the broken pieces from the kiln and observes something strange about it. Satu makes it known to Arisa that he put in wares that are already broken as decoys in case something like they had just witnessed happened. Arisa asks Satu where all the vials that he made were. Satu tells Arisa that they are fine, and that he put the ones that they made somewhere else. He tells Arisa that he cannot explain it in detail at that moment, but that he has something better than her item box. Arisa tells Satu to take them out, and Satu brings out one vial from his storage box. Upon bringing out the vial, it breaks to Satu's surprise. Satu realizes that the sudden temperature change when bringing the vial out must have broken it. Soon, Satu figures out a way to get the vials without them breaking. Later on, Satu visits the silver-haired jerk. The man tells Satu that he has already received word that he won't be able to make the deliveries, and that Satu has no reason to come see him. He tells Satu to leave the city at once. Satu steps forward and tells him that he would like for him to stamp and sign the delivery note. He wonders what delivery note Satu is talking about, and the other small-time crook standing by him is surprised and tells Satu that it is impossible. It is quickly made known to them that 300 vials of potion have been received, and that it has also been confirmed that there are no problems with them. Satu tells them that he didn't use any tricks, and that the delivery was accomplished with wit, hard work, and friendship. Satu tells the silver-haired bastard that all they need is a signature and a seal from him. The silver-haired fraud stands and walks towards the window behind him and looks outside. Satu wonders if he is refusing to sign the delivery note at all costs, while bidding his time for sundown and not wanting to listen to Satu's appeal to have the delivery note signed. Count Kohanu suddenly makes an appearance and makes it known that he will sign the papers. Count Kohanu tells the silver-haired fraud that the witch has already told him of his evil deeds. Suddenly, the witch also shows up in the room. Count Kohanu makes it known to the silver-haired fraud that he was just helping him out of pity for his family, and gave him the position blindly, but that he has now realized that he was blind to do so, as the silver-haired man is not worthy of being assistant viceroy. The Count takes the privilege away from him. The silver-haired man tries to attack the Count with a spell, but it doesn't take effect. The Count tells him that he is foolish, as he cannot be harmed by such a spell within his territory. The Count tells him that he has pity for his old friend, the silver-haired man's father, and that for that singular reason, he will not charge him with treason, but will let him off with death. The Count draws his sword, but before he can do anything, Satu interferes and knocks the two men down. The Count asks Satu why he will interfere. Satu tells the Count that there are children present. Satu apologizes to the potter for all the trouble he has caused, but the potter tells him not to worry about it as he now gets priority on any deals because of the Count. The potter lets Satu know that he also now has a bigger kiln than before. The witch looks at Satu and thanks him for his aid. Inenemana hands Satu a lantern as a token of their gratitude to him for his help. She tells Satu that it is a magic item that she made with her mistress, the witch's help. Satu acquires a title in the process, becoming a friend of the witches. Satu and his traveling companions set out again and continued on their journey. Satu wonders how many cities they have been to since leaving Siryu City. Back in Siryu City, Xena runs with a letter in her hand towards some fellow soldiers. They ask her why she is in such a hurry. Xena tells them that she got a letter from Satu. She reads out the content of the letter to her fellow soldiers. At night, Pochi tells Satu to read her a bedtime story, which he obliges. Before he is done reading it, Pochi and Tama have slept off. Satu makes it known to Xena in his letter to her that they still have a long journey ahead, but that he plans to keep enjoying it. The next morning when Satu wakes, he finds most of the ladies lying down on him. Liza tells Satu that breakfast will be ready soon, and that he should get up from bed.